of thinking about this whole subject. Plus, the fact that I sort of can't help being a psychologist, I tend to, when I hear somebody say things like, oh, well, everybody dies, death is natural, and, I'm not afraid. I tend to hear that as, denial and a kind of defense against the terror.
Welcome to Zestful Aging, the podcast where we celebrate aging with vibrance and we defy the stereotypes of what it means to age. I'm your host, Nicole Christina, a psychotherapist of more than 30 years, here to introduce you to my off-the-mainstream guests who will energize and inspire you. My hope is to create optimism about getting older and help you cultivate zest and joy in this season of your life. And I love to hear feedback from you, my listeners. Please drop me a line at zestfulaging@gmail.com. I read every single comment. And to find out more about this podcast, hop on over to zestfulaging.com. Well, some of us don't mind admitting that we're a little afraid of dying. Our guest today says she thinks about her death 20 to 30 times a day. And as a psychologist and memoirist, she has been on Zestful Aging before. It's Liz Scott. We love talking to her the first time, and she has written a new memoir called You're Going to Die, But Not Me, which delves into all things deathy. I just made that up. Liz describes this latest book as her journey from near terror of her mortality to near terror. Welcome to the show again, Liz.
Thank you, Nicole. It's so great to be here. It's so great to talk to you.
Yeah, I mean, I just love your insights and your humor, and the fact that we're both therapists is something additionally fun, I guess.
Oh, totally.
We'll try to stay away from the language.
Right, exactly. No vernacular here. Right.
That's
exactly.
right.
Plain
That's
talk.
Right.
Plain straight talk.
I love that. Plain, yeah. So describe for us when you say, you've started really noticing over the years that as you get older, you're more and more afraid to die. And I think you've described your family and your life as so full and in many ways so lovely. You don't want to leave. You just, you got a lot of good stuff going on. I know you have a grandchild, and there's a lot of stuff you want to stick around for. Can you talk more about what the terror looks like? What comes to mind?
Don't judge me, everybody.
That's a great way to start. Don't judge me.
Because I know this sounds so bizarre, Nicole. It just, when I say it out loud, I judge myself. Let me put it that way. So yes, you're right. I have a lovely life, and I absolutely do not want to leave it. And it's hard for me to believe that most people don't feel that same way unless they're, in extremis in some way. But that aside, when death has felt closer and closer, because let's face it, I'm pretty old, the picture I had in my mind was of me kind of floating in some black eternity. This kind of terrifying image of this kind of eternal blackness. And the word annihilation kept coming to me. And it was a very kind of really creepy, dark thought. And so that that was the charming picture that kept popping up for me.
And you've been widowed.
I have.
And your husband died of cancer. Is there something about that experience that, kind of created an expectation for you of what this might look like?
No, but I will say that his death was really the first death I'd experienced in my life. I never met any grandparents, as you may recall, but so his death, and that was only in 1999, was really my first experience, and that was a very close-up experience.
Mm-hmm.
So sort of death was in my face for the first time. And then my mother died in 2004, and that was also a very close-up experience with death that I had. And then I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2014. And so it's kind of the accretion of these things. Plus, I just had my 79th birthday. So, there's no denying that the calendar is shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was all these factors that kept sort of developing this sort of increased awareness that just kept snowballing for me.
Mm-hmm. Do you think also like the state of the world is adding to some of the horror?
I'm sure that's true. This happens. I talk to clients about this a lot. That they say the state of the world and what's happening in our country. This is this kind of ever-present background, or overhang, or however you want to say it. That is sort of an additional force multiplier, I think, to whatever difficult, dark feelings you're having, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
What a great way to say that. Even when we try not to look at the news, even the headlines are enough to, yeah. So interesting. Any other thoughts? Anything about religious background or anything? And I don't mean to pathologize you. Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you afraid of death, you silly girl?
I want to know what's wrong with the other people that aren't. I want to know what's wrong with them.
Let's talk about that. I mean, are you able to have I have, good friends, and we talk about a lot of stuff. We don't talk about this in particular. What about
That's
you?
Interesting. Yeah, I guess the combination of my own personal way of thinking about this whole subject, plus, the fact that I sort of can't help being a psychologist, I tend to, when I hear somebody say things like, oh, well, everybody dies, death is natural, and, I'm not afraid. I tend to hear that as, denial, and a kind of defense against the terror. One of the things I researched in doing this book was reading Ernest Becker's book, The Denial of Death, which is really, I thought, very profound in so many ways. And he talks about how he believes that the fear of death is so ubiquitous, so universal, that we develop, what did he call these? What he calls immortality projects. So things that things like having children, writing books, developing things that you think are meaningful. These things that are sort of unconscious defenses against the facts that we're going to die. And so I forgot what your first question was.
Oh, that's okay. We're wandering around together. I often can't find my way back to the original question. So it's interesting. When we're talking about friendships and have you been able to share your fear, which can often be helpful, right? It doesn't take it away. There's no guarantees. Oh, don't worry, I know what's going to happen. But is it helped by, well, you wrote a book about it, so you're certainly sharing it. Has that been helpful at all?
Well, the writing of the book was certainly helpful. And it's been very interesting talking to friends, because I think, I don't know if I should say most, but many people I talk to about it, what they express is the kind of fear of the dying part, the process of dying.
Yes.
Yeah. And, I'm just that's not what's scary to me. Partly it was because I went through the process of my husband's death, and, he died at home with hospice, and the hospice workers, bless their hearts,
Mm, mm,
they were just so amazing. And I'm not going to give anybody's name in case I get them in trouble, but they gave him way more morphine than was prescribed. And
mhm,
so
mm,
he wasn't in any discomfort or any pain.
mhm.
So I'm not afraid of that part, but it seems to be that that's what a lot of people think of when they talk about their
Mhm.
fear of death.
Yes. Yes, but you're talking about the annihilation and non-existence.
Yes, yes, yeah, I
Mhm.
am.
Yeah. Boy, that's a tough one because, like, you can't there are no skills you can build, right? There's no strategies that we have to say, well, if you just read this book, you'll feel a lot better because we know exactly what's gonna happen.
Totally, totally, and I love that, Nicole. That's I hadn't really thought of that before. I'm going to use that. Thank you. But what it reminds me of when you said that was one of the things that sort of came to me towards the end of writing this book, which is the only sort of analogous experience we've had, we in quotes, is before we were born.
Mm.
So we were nothing before we were born.
Mhm.
And I guess from my philosophical point of view, we are nothing after we die.
Mhm.
I'll put that in quotes, nothing, because I think I have some thoughts about, the particularities of that. But so that feels like the only, slight analogy we can make, or the slight
Mhm.
comparison.
Yeah, there's of course different beliefs, right? That and you talk about this in your book, but there's reincarnation. So maybe
Hmm.
we were turtles before we
Hmm.
were born, and and that. So, what would you like to happen after we die?
Yeah. One of the benefits of this whole exploration was doing a sort of deep dive into panpsychism, which when I first came across the concept, it sounded so much like a sort of relic or expansion from the 60s or some, just, we're all groovy, we're all part of nature. But
Yeah.
in fact, it was really surprising to learn that it used to be a couple of centuries ago the prevailing theory of mind, which is that everything in the universe has consciousness.
Hmm.
And so, as I was exploring that, and this was at the beginning of the pandemic, I got a dog.
Hmm.
And
And you have quite a sweet picture of you and this
I
dog on your website.
know, oh my gosh, he's the
Yes.
best thing ever.
Oh my gosh,
Oh my,
you don't have to tell me.
do you
A
have a
mom.
dog?
I
Do you have
have
a,
multiple dogs.
oh God.
Yeah, but I hear it. I get it.
Oh my God. Well, this is my first dog as an adult, and he's changed my life. He has changed
Mhm.
my life. And
Mhm.
I'm so aware of his consciousness and the fact that he's a sentient being.
Mm.
And
He has his own self.
he has his own self. He's got his personality. He's got his
Mhm.
preferences. He's his own self. And so that, and then looking at this whole thing of panpsychism, um, I just started feeling like what is most likely, in my personal opinion, is that I will disperse into the universe in some other form. You know, it would be like astonishing if there were any quote Lizness left. No
Mm.
personal consciousness, but it's kind of like a physics problem. You can't destroy matter.
Mhm.
It only changes, transforms into something else. So that sort of raises the question of, is there a soul, and what does that mean? Does that survive intact in any way, which is a real stretch for me.
I want to hear more. So you're thinking about this idea everything has a soul
It has
when
a,
you
a
die. I
consciousness.
mean, I'm sorry, a consciousness, and
Yeah.
then when you die you don't disappear, you change form
Same
somehow.
form. And then there's a chapter in the book about psychedelics.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this experience, so I decided to sort of explore this topic from that angle too. And so I had this experience with this one substance that was mind-boggling. And it's I was having this conversation with my grandson the other day about how my sense is that the experiences in life that are on all extremes, the extreme of really horrible and the extreme of just amazing, are very hard to put into words, and that words can really cheapen those profound experiences. And I find that when I'm trying to talk about my experience with this particular psychedelic, that I can't put words to it, but I can say that it's sort of reinforced this sense of being connected to everything in the universe. So
and that's a very common experience. Am I right about that?
I think so. Yeah, that's what Michael Pollan in his books say too.
We love Michael Pollan.
Michael Pollan.
Yeah.
Love Michael.
Yeah. Yes. So was that comforting in some way, doing that psychedelic trip and seeing, wait a minute, it's not me floating in annihilation, it's me still being here somehow?
Yeah, I wish I had a good picture for it. I'll tell you that there was the most beautiful sort of silver white light that I felt infused by. And so when I think about being connected, it's almost like a web where everything is attached, and the whole universe is sort of attached by this ginormous infinite web, and my molecules are part of that web, or my essence, I don't know, my molecules, I guess is the best way to say it. So there's definitely, I mean, this book does have an arc. And so I did, yes, it's a kind of journey from near terror to near acceptance. I'm still not thrilled about the idea, but this arc of feeling less terror, more comfort, is definitely supported by feeling so much more connected.
Sounds like that might have been, with all your research, that experience might have been the most comforting.
I think it was. I think as a therapist, you know about exposure therapy. So I think it was a combination of, exposing myself to this concept and not just thinking about it and getting scared and kind of retracting. So there was that. There was the exposure. There was looking at it from all these different angles, which I guess is part of exposure therapy. There was these different ways of feeling that consciousness exists, like, with my dog and with other examinations of panpsychism and then the psychedelic experience. So it was like an accretion of all of these factors, I think, I would say.
Well, hi, Zesties. In addition to being a podcaster and psychotherapist, I'm an avid thrifter. And I think it's something you either love or you hate. I've always loved finding treasures, and it makes me happy to keep things out of the landfill. You may already know that fast fashion is a real scourge on the environment. And I have a few podcast episodes that explore this. One of my favorites is with Eric Minter, who's the world's authority on the secondhand market. His book, Secondhand, is really recommended. And here I'm digressing. The reality is that I love to thrift, but I also like to wear the same basic outfit. So I've started an account on eBay I wanted to tell you about. Here's a humble brag. I have an eye for quality pieces. Linen and cashmere are my favorites, and I'd love you to check it out. Go on eBay and type in Nikki's Thrifty, and it's NICKY''S Thrifty with a Y, and see what you think. I'd love your feedback. How has this changed how you work with your clients?
What came to my mind is I just had this client the other day. He's in his mid-50s and, perfectly healthy, and his mom is in hospice. And he said something like, well, at least I've got another 2 or 3 decades myself. And I just said, well, if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that, and I did not imply that as a kind of depressing, scolding thing, but that it came from a belief that sort of like Ram Dass, we better be here now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We better be here now because we all are on borrowed time.
Mm-hmm.
And like the existentialists kind of posited, it's important to have death on our shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that the now is what we have.
And you have it on your shoulder. It's tapping you every 20 to 30.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure you're familiar with that app that tells you, it just spits out, you're going to die, you're going to die.
No,
Yes.
I don't.
You missed that one. Oh boy. Yeah, it's a similar thing, having it on your shoulder. It's just the high-tech version to just know that denying that is not making your life better.
No, it's not making your life better, and it's probably squandering some moments.
Mm-hmm. Have you talked to your daughters and about this? Do they know all about? Well, I'm guessing they read the book.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. My grandson read the book. Yep. When I talked to them, I think I said this in the chapter, that chapter on what all the different things one can do with one's body after you die, which was quite the interesting exploration.
Oh yes.
I had had a discussion with them before I decided what to do, and they it's like they put their fingers in their ears. They didn't want to have that conversation about, because I said, if you have a preference, would you want me to be buried somewhere? Would you want to have ash? But they didn't want to. They did not want to engage in that conversation.
And so you went down that whole rabbit hole of all the things you can do. Mushroom suit, Body Farm. Am I saying it right?
Body Farm, and you can turn yourself into fireworks.
Oh.
You can be made into a pendant, like a diamond pendant.
Yes, I did not know that one, but I learned that.
I know. I mean, there were some really grotesque, really ridiculous, really insane. Like you can have just your head frozen.
Oh boy, that's quite a business.
It's quite a business, and I don't know what kind of magical thinking goes on when somebody.
Yes. Magical thing.
I mean, that takes a lot of creative.
We can rebuild him.
Really?
Yes.
Really. But I'll tell you that whole exploration was super, super helpful in me finally deciding what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And I paid my money. I have this human composting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a relatively new thing that's going on.
And is it mostly out on the West Coast, or I don't know if I've heard about here?
Yeah, well, this one started in Seattle. I mean, there's now sort of a branch in Portland, so I bet it is a West Coast thing. And so they kind of there's this whole process that does not involve any chemicals or any bugs or anything like that.
Burning, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right, no exactly. Bugs, right? Like
no bugs. No maggots.
No, yeah, that's a tough one.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
It really, truly is.
Isn't it? It's just, it's so funny because we're dead. Why would we care if a maggot eating at us? But
it's completely our association. I mean, they're cleaning. They're probably what the environment needs, but there's just something so gross about imagining that.
So gross. And I think of myself as such a, passionate supporter of all animals on Earth. But I don't know. There's a kind of a slight exception for maggots.
Maggots and ticks. ticks might
Yeah,
be
ticks are not
on
great
the
either.
side. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So tell us about human composting. How does that all go?
Yeah.
What is that process?
So I took a virtual tour. They gave me a virtual tour of the facility in Washington, and your body gets well. First of all, they swoop in and they collect your body immediately
Mhm, mhm.
and take it to their facility. You go and you're in this kind of metal tube thing, and I think there's only organic material in there with you. I don't know if it's, wood chips or stuff like that. There's only organic material. That's it. No chemicals at all.
Mhm.
And I can't remember how long they said, 60 days. I can't remember how long they said the process takes, but you are essentially turned into dirt, and your family can have some or as much as they want of that, and the rest, what they do is they take it to the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State, which
Oh,
is,
I've been there and
have you
walked
ever?
that. Oh my gosh, is
I
that
know
gorgeous?
it's a heavenly place on earth.
It's a rainforest.
It totally is so beautiful. So, I assume that some significant part of me will be in the Olympic National
Mm.
Forest, and that's
Oh.
lovely to think about. And it seemed like the least horrible um, option.
Now, I mean, I don't really mean to get too granular, but what about bones and teeth?
Well, I don't. That's a good question. That's a good question. I didn't ask them. I didn't ask them. Huh.
Well, and here's another one. Um, if you have any artificial joints, they have
Oh,
metal and
oh,
stuff.
that's right.
I know that when they're boy, we are really getting into it. When they do, cremation, that stuff has to be gathered separately.
Well,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I
okay,
imagine when they open the tube, the container, they can extract.
sort it out.
Yeah, they will put you in a giant sieve.
Hmm. Yes, how interesting. So that's what you landed on. Did you look at the mushroom suit at all?
I did, but I don't think that's legal here, and that
Oh.
also takes up land, and I don't think you can. I don't. It's not. I think it's still against the law everywhere. Well, I'm not sure if everywhere, but to bury somebody in your own backyard, I don't
Mm.
think it's legal.
Oh, I don't know if it's well, yeah, I don't know all of the parts about it, just that it's you're getting broken down organically
Yeah,
again. Same
yeah.
same idea. Um but, and I don't know too much more about that. I know that there was research being done on at MIT, and there was a
Mm,
woman working on it, and I really wanted to interview her,
hmm.
and it sort of fizzled out, but I was fascinated by that. What are our thoughts about US versus Europe? Because I know in Europe there are parks
Yeah,
and that kind of thing that
yeah.
are different. What have you learned about that?
Well, I mean, I guess I have a bias about not using land
Mm,
for this purpose. I mean, I'd
mhm,
rather have a dog park or a playground for
mm.
kids, or
Can you have both or no?
No, I don't know. Do you want your kids to be running? I don't
Walking
know.
on, yeah,
Walking on
yeah,
dead
yeah.
bodies? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I see. I
I,
see.
I just have a sort of a general bias about using land
Mhm.
in that way.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
but I,
dog park, I have cartoon vision right now with the dog park and the body garden.
and if there are any bones left out, watch out because
Oh, oh boy.
the
Oh,
dogs are
that
going
could go terribly wrong. Yeah.
You see a dog running around with a tibia in his mouth.
With your bone, yeah, yeah. The deer bones are enough. Human
That's right.
bones, yeah, no thank you. What was
Uh,
the one you found least interesting to you?
well, this body farm thing, good God. I mean,
Mm,
so, oh, well, no, actually, that's not the grossest one. I think um, this is I think a significant thing for people to be aware of, that when you want to donate your body
mm,
because you have, you want to do some good for science,
mhm.
It's really, really important to be careful where you donate your body.
Mm-hmm.
So universities, I'm sure, are fine because they're doing important research that can help humanity.
Mm-hmm.
But there are places that, oh God, like they use bodies as crash test
Yes.
dummies.
Oh, for
I mean, and
goodness
just
sake.
horrendous stuff, just horrendous. And I talk about this in the book that
Yeah.
there was one place that got raided by the FBI that was so bad that the FBI agents had to have trauma therapy
Yes.
afterwards.
Yes. Who's running that show?
Yeah, no kidding. Some like Hannibal Lecter or
Yes,
some creepo.
that's oof.
Really, it's
We're
really
we're
gross.
concerned. Yes, yes, that's really gross that you
Really
want to be
gross.
among different levels of. And then you talked about this famous University of Tennessee facility.
Yeah, that one was that the Humvee one or oh, was that
No,
the
that
body
was
farm? The body.
the one in different. The authorities wanted to see different levels
Yes.
of decomposition.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
exactly. And the
mhm,
I guess the theory is that that helps them solve cases, or
mhm.
that's the theory. I don't know. It seems
Yes.
very sadistic to me.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing a documentary about that,
Huh?
and they wanted to learn, like, they to be able to date,
Yeah,
when this person died
yeah,
based on decomposition,
yeah,
yeah, what would we call it? Decomposition
yeah.
rates,
Yes,
yeah, there's a lot going on that we don't know,
there's a
probably,
lot going on. There's a lot
outside
going
of
on.
our quiet little lives.
Exactly.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Death Cafe?
I am familiar with Death
Yeah.
Cafe. There are a few here in Portland, and I I only had the chance to sit in on one. Sadly, I mean, I talked to people that ran death cafes, and the one I sat in on was it was fine. It was just people. It was mostly people talking about their experience of people in their lives who had died.
Mm,
So I think it's great to have a place to go and feel free to talk about that. It wasn't so much useful for me in my whole journey.
mhm. Yeah. I think they vary
Hmm.
really widely. I actually interviewed the family that started this years
Oh,
ago. It was started
oh,
in the UK. I think it was called Death and Cake. And
huh.
they'd get together, and the cafe would serve cake, and the person who started it actually died, and
Hmm,
then his children took it over, and it's all over the world. It seems like that would have been
hmm,
kind of something to be helpful for you, but that particular session didn't sound like it was scratching that
totally.
itch.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess if I get a second printing, I'll include that.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
possible. Yeah. I mean, wouldn't that be a good place? Because they're
totally.
showing up, and, it's supposed to be everything about death.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you can run one
yeah. That
as your next immortality project.
exactly my immortality project.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So how do we go forward now? I mean,
Hmm.
are you using some of what you've learned to make things a little bit more tolerable, or how are we doing now?
Yeah. Um, well, and this is a sort of decades long endeavor for me. I am more and more and more committed to sort of getting my affairs in order, quote unquote. And
Mhm.
so I'm very aware of not wanting to burden
Mm.
my children in any way that I can possibly help that. And so, I'm getting rid of stuff all over the
Oh,
place, you
Swedish
know.
death cleaning.
Yes, exactly. Swedish death cleaning.
Mhm.
I'm just getting rid of stuff all over the place.
Mhm.
I am doing my very best to be here now. I
Mhm.
am, really attending to my relationships, my friendships and relationships, and community. here.
Mhm.
Portland has a massive writing community. It's a very beautiful community here. We have it's just quite incredible, and it's a very sort of it's big, it's large, but at the same time kind of tight knit
Mm.
and very
Oh,
supportive.
that sounds wonderful.
It's incredible. It's really, really incredible. And I think I took it for granted and sort of dipped in and out. And there's something I think about my increased awareness and sensitivity that has made me more mindful about my responsibility to support and attend and show up. And so that is sort of an increased factor that I think has been a result of this whole exploration too. So I think just more mindful of the things that matter.
Mm-hmm. Really highly
Yeah,
prioritizing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm sure you're aware of the Five Wishes document. Do you know about
Um,
Five Wishes?
I do, but I can't remember what any details.
Yeah, so basically, and I might be corrected, but it's an end of life plan,
Mm,
and I think it overlaps with advanced directives, but it's
mm-hmm,
much more narrative based,
mm,
and I love it because it just is like describe how you want your ceremony to be.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, well, I would like some chocolate there, and here's some music I would
Right,
like to
right.
play. And here's like, and there was something so weirdly satisfying
Yeah,
about it. I thought, oh, this is really going to suck. But, it was something about making those choices. No, I don't want a breathing tube. No,
yeah,
I don't want
yes,
antibiotics if, it's the prognosis is
yeah,
grim, and making those choices, but then also saying, what do I want it to look like? And, having your loved ones in mind. What would they enjoy? Do you want it to be
yeah,
outside, inside? All of this stuff
yeah,
was really an interesting exercise.
yeah. That does sound like an interesting exercise. I think I'm going to look into that more. I mean, I when you're talking, I was sort of answering those questions in my head, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do. That's something I think I could talk to my kids about easily. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think they'd put their fingers in their ears too much for that. But one thing I know, my daughters are really, really funny, and
Mm.
the two of them together are like a comedy act, and
I love that.
they're amazing. And so I I want that to be part of the whole thing, and you
Love
know
that.
I really want that to be part of the whole thing, and yeah, sure, cry a little too,
Mhm.
cry a little too, um, and it's so funny. Somebody asked me the other day about music, what music I'd want, and I had this kind of. Do you remember the movie Gallipoli?
Yeah, I kind of.
You remember that movie? I think it was Mel Gibson's first movie. It was that
Ye-
Australian
oh,
movie.
oh, kind of. Yeah, a little bit.
And there was this. I think it was the Adagio by. I think it was Albinoni Adagio as these soldiers are being sent out on this mission that where the commander knew they were going to be killed. And this music is so beautiful and so
Mm,
heartrending. And so, I mean, you'd be a stone if you weren't completely
mhm,
moved by this music. And so I have over the years thought, yeah, I want that music at my funeral because I want everybody to be crying. But
mhm, mhm,
but Nicole, as I come from two highly narcissistic parents, and so
mhm.
I check myself when I think, well, that's kind of precious, like that's very narcissistic to want everybody to be crying. Um,
Mm,
I mean, yes and no.
mhm.
Yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, I kind of have to check myself for those
Right.
tendencies, I have to say. So I wouldn't mind a little bit of that music and then a lot of laughing. And
It's funny. I don't know if I just learned about this. Do you know about this? It's a company. I think it's one or two people, and they write really funny obituaries.
Oh my God, that's a riot.
And it is hysterical. It's like, well, she wasn't great in the kitchen, but we loved her anyway. Not great with money, and it is so refreshing,
Yeah.
not disrespectful. Obviously, it gets vetted, by the family members. But who wants, like, she was so
totally.
Loved by all.
Totally.
Who the hell wants that?
Totally.
Stuff.
Totally.
And it is spicy, and you give the person like stuff like, oh, she was a good knitter, but would curse a lot. So there's all that. And it makes it so much more personal and just juicy.
One of my dearest friends died a couple of years ago, and he was like my brother. We were really, really, really close, and his husband actually asked me to write his obituary, and Robert was his name, and he was really the funniest person I've ever met, and so I wrote an obituary like that, and for him, and the thing that this is kind of a general principle, it doesn't have anything to do with death, but I think that the difference between teasing that has a poke, a sharp edge to it versus affectionate teasing.
Absolutely.
It's such an important distinction. And so the things that I said about Robert that were funny, he would have laughed at.
Yes.
And all his other friends were quite aware of that, yep, that's Robert. So that makes so much sense to me. And I love that. And, I'm not sure how, I don't know if anybody I don't know where an obituary for me would show up, but I would, if there were one, I would like it to be in that vein for sure.
Well, it sounds like you got the daughters to do that.
Yeah, I think I do.
My mom kisses her dog on the lips.
Right.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
Yeah.
So Liz, thank you so much for writing this book and, reminding us that we cannot outrun this thing, and we might as well face it and sort of do the best we can to make some peace with it.
I think so. And thank you so much, Nicole. It's such a pleasure talking to you. It really is. It's such a pleasure.
Oh, and you as well. I want to let people know where they can find you.
So I'm on Substack. The name of the Substack is Doom with a View with a D. But you can find the Substack at Liz Scott PDX, P as in Paul, D as in dog, X at Substack. And my website is lizscottwriter.com. And I would love to connect with anybody. I would just love that. I love that. So
and you can buy the book, your new book.
Yes.
And I also love your other books. But You're Not Gonna Die, But Not Me. You can buy that on lizscottwriter.com, and you give both a choice of Amazon and an indie book.
Yeah, the bookshop.org goes through indie booksellers, which is great too. I think anywhere, Barnes & Noble, anywhere that you can order, probably anywhere books are sold. Yeah.
I love that. Congratulations on the book. It's always fun to talk to you, Liz.
You too, Nicole.
All right.
Until next time.
Thank you so much for joining us on Zestful Aging. If you like the podcast, please share it with some of your friends.
Our theme song is All I Did Was Wait for You by Kjartan Abel. Visit Kjartan-Abel, that's KJARTAN-Abel, ABEL.com to hear more of Kjartan's work. And our technical director is Stephen Litweiler.
And stay tuned next week for another interview with a fascinating and inspiring guest. See you then.